Hello, my name is Dongchan Lee. I'm an innovator from South Korea. I'm currently trying to propose various proposals to about 30, 40, 50 countries around the world because there are some major global, international, global, regional, and the national level, a lot of crises. So some of the problems, I think I'll be able to help you resolve the problem, which otherwise can be extremely difficult and may have a super negative impact socio-economically, educationally in your region and the entire your region, not just your country and your country. And over the next 5, 10, 15, 20 years can be exceedingly painful. Yeah. So again, I consider myself as an innovator. So how am I going to solve that? So to start, I'm trying to make the about 1 to 3 hours video already. This video I'll try to make it short, like 10 minutes or something like that. Okay, basically a lot of socio-economic problem, super crisis. There are a few different ways of doing it, and as far as I know, what I propose may be as far as I'm aware, maybe the best one and the easiest, cheapest, and fastest one, and the least painful. So to start the basic, a little bit of information. My original educational background is mathematics and physics, and I'm an amateur hypoglot. I'm not a professional polyglot. I'm an amateur hypoglot. I speak 15 languages. I almost never study except English. Not only out of these 15 languages, I learned to speak 10 of them in 10 days. And about 3-4 of them are among the normally considered the most difficult languages to speak. And so although it was 10 languages in 10 days, not fluidly to speak at the survival level. What I mean by the survival level, watch it in the long video, I don't have time to explain all the details. So although it was 10 languages in 10 days, it basically included the 3-4 normally considered the hardest languages. So at the level of difficulty, average difficulty level of Western European languages, let's say you are learning learning the Western European language kind of difficulty level, it is equivalent to learn to speak 25 to 30 new languages in 10 days. So basically at the level of learning to speak French, Italian, German, Spanish, these kind of languages, basically picking up 2.5 to 3 languages per day. Is it possible? Well, again, details in website and my other video. I share at the end of this video. Check that. And then I had some other crazy background. I had the ability to make a normal student learn math, at least for the grade 3 to grade 11, let's say, both public, private school, good, bad, all included. Basically, my students could learn to speak, learn mathematics, normal school curricular math, 30, 40, 50 times faster than usual. If I have to paraphrase, the kind of math you normally need 10, 12 years before the university entrance, 10, 12 years of study, basically you can learn it in 1, 2, 3, 4 months. Can you believe that? A few months. That means basically I could make my students learn math probably 7, 10 times faster than the fastest super genius of mathematics of the entire world over the past at least 1 to 300 years. Can you get that? Obviously, we are not going to believe it. Again, just give me benefit of doubt. Just watch it until the end and then check the rest of the video, and following my website, there are a bunch of testimonial, national TV channel interview, etc. No? And the next, so it was called USL. It was too fast. Nobody could believe it. I got betrayed too many times painfully in Mexico and Guatemala. So I abandoned it, and a few years later, I decided to slow it down, 10 to 20 times slower version called the mini USL, because the original was a USL. One thing I forgot to mention. I couldn't speak even more than 20-30 seconds of Spanish before I run the original pilot study in Mexico and then Guatemala. And then the first round when I was ran the pilot study to private school, top tier private school, 400 students, I believe. And when I ran the pilot study, even 10 days before, I couldn't speak even 20-30 seconds, and to run to 10 classes, grade 7 to grade 11, to run to my pilot study to demonstrate it works, I forced myself to learn to speak Spanish. So I studied total like 10 hours to prepare for the 10 classes. Then basically, with all my broken, bad pronunciation, grammar, it doesn't, lousy vocabulary, it doesn't matter. Even with that, my students learn dozens of times faster than usual. Again, you wouldn't believe it. For the rest, let me move on. So original USL, nobody could believe it. I slowed it down 10-20 times, called the mini USL MMU 1. Basically, what I did was I collaborated with two top-tier schools, especially one middle school was the best school of the entire state of Sonora state of Guatemala. I took the math worst half student, math best half student, stay with their math teacher in this best middle school of the entire state. So basically, the pilot ran the two schools. They each first run 1 week, the other one 1 to 2 weeks, depending on how you measure it. So basically, I took the worst half and the best half with the math teacher. I mean, 1 to 2 weeks later, average of my student rose the average basically on par with the best half, more or less in average. So this is roughly, statistically speaking, about 1.34 standard deviation, theoretically speaking. That is basically equivalent to advancing like 5-6 years, 6.5 years, skipping math. Is that possible? And again, the top student was staying with their teacher 1 year, 2 years. And in my case, I just shut up and just pick up the class, and then that's about it, no? And in all my pilot study, in most cases, my students, usually about 70 to 90% of them, they didn't even do the homework. And can you believe that? Well, that's the story. And at that time, by the time the MMU won, I expected to make noises to the UNESCO and the United Nations, etc., to make noises to change the world. The reason I started all this thing was I was unhappy with the extreme income inequality, extreme poverty around the world. Instead of all the nonsense, I had this kind of crazy ability. My conclusion was one of the best way to end the poverty is empower the brain power, especially math, and then down the road they'll take care of it. Sadly, I got betrayed, backstepped left and right, and I got abandoned this again, and 5-6 years I totally forgot about it until about 4 months ago. Accidentally, I discovered found out about the new result of PISA 2022. If you in the government and the Ministry of Education, you should know all your country, vast majority of your country, math totally collapsed or crashed, and the rest of the story you know it. I don't even need to explain. So I figured the vast majority, especially Western country, 90% of them crashed or collapsed. Only 2 countries, only the Ireland, the United Kingdom, afloat, barely surviving horizontal. All the rest of the past 10 to 20 years declined, crashed, collapsed. And as far as I see, none of them you can recover any U-turn possibility. I don't see any, because all these countries are rich countries, some of the 10, 15, 20 richest countries, and pumping up so much money. In this country, average is 5 to 6% in average over the past 10, 20 years going to the education cost. And I'm sure all of you worked very, very hard to improve the math ability, and which is a good measure is math poverty, actually quite disastrous. And the bottom line is, with all the due respect, what's going to happen is this has been, if you look at all the chart, please visit my website. I posted it in the 2 different places, basically average math declining, at best horizontal, past 10, 20, 25 years. And the other things was the math poverty percent share, basically from 5.7 to all the way 92.3% of the math poverty. Math poverty, my definition again in my website and my other long video. check that. So basically, math poverty is a very super strong correlation with the national math average. The point is, if all these countries, their math poverty is getting horizontal or even getting worse, and obviously national math average will be horizontal, getting worse, majority got worse. During the pandemic, it got even worse. And I'm sure most of you working very, very hard to change it and improve it. And at what cost? And what is the chance for you to next 10, 20, 30 years, if you get lucky, get even level to the past the 10, 20 years ago, if you are lucky, or if you want to continue to go down the hill. So I'm not trying to insult anybody. No government, no Ministry of Education. It's not just your country. It's everywhere. Yeah. Again, if you check my website and see it, you understand it's just everywhere, not just you. So don't be embarrassed. What I'm saying is the current paradigm of education, with the due respect of all this methodology, pedagogies, and the hundreds or thousands or tens of thousands of PhD in education psychology, and neuroscience. What is the result? Obviously, it doesn't work. Yeah, and the past 10 years, a lot of you use the Duolingo to improve the language speaking at least, or the Khan Academy and a lot of apps. Where are the results? Yeah. So when people are saying that now the ChatGPT AI will have bring the revolution, I don't buy any single penny out of this argument. Yeah, and you should do, I believe. And how do you, next basically key thing is, and I'm crazy enough, and I'm trying to, not including in your country, please, I'm proposing the pilot study. You don't have to believe anything one word to say. Invite me, run the pilot study 1 to 2 months. I simply, without theory, without pedagogy, without best textbook curriculum, none of the, in my opinion, nonsense. If I offend you, somebody, please forgive me. But basically, I personally, at my level, it's not working. So instead of wasting your time, and instead of this has a highly correlated to the impact of your national economy. Everybody know STEM, especially math is foundation. If you get shaken, math, all the rest down the toilet, basically. No? So basically, in my case, so the impact of this thing, how much is going to impact radically, normally what you need with your government, any government, it doesn't matter whether you are from Germany, Italy, France, the Chile, Uruguay, Costa Rica, Saudi Arabia, all these countries, Dominican Republic, all these, wherever that is. The East Asian country, like 6, 7 of them, consider doing good. And the rest of them, basically Indonesia, South Pacific, as well, the Brunei, Malaysia, you name it. So instead of you can do what you need to do, but basically what I'm proposing is invite me, basically from the alliance. I take the sole responsibility to radically eliminate math poverty in your country 5, 10, 20 times faster than you can possibly imagine. Instead of wasting your time 100, 200 years, I can make it happen next 3 to 7 years by the end of this decade. So again, I hope I didn't offend anybody. It's not my intention at all. And this is kind of thing, if you look at my website and complete visual data I provided, and if you see it context, and especially now the AI coming, AI is a job, basically they are wiping out a lot of jobs, including the university diploma jobs as well, blue collar, white collar job. So in my case, all these things, basically in my case, I have some kind of a magic touch to basically change it, and you don't have to believe it, run pilot study 1 to 2 months, and then if it works, just get it. Don't ask me about the methodology and pedagogy textbook. I can use your pedagogy, I can use your textbook, your curricula. It doesn't matter. I'm going to end the math poverty fast. Yeah. So otherwise your economy is going to collapse, because the math poverty in your country, if you are talking about the Western European country, rich country, typically 25 to 30%. United States 34%. How much money pumped into the better math? Simply, sadly, reality is reality. And if you are talking about a country like UAE, United Arab Emirates, and Qatar, currently 55-60% math poverty. You know that? And even the 3-4 best math countries in entire Latin America is like a 60-65%. Chile, Uruguay, Costa Rica, Mexico. And if you're talking about Indonesia, Colombia, Brazil, somewhere around 80% math poverty. Basically, math poverty meaning it's not employable in the modern form of economy. So the vast majority of these people cannot contribute to the modern form of the economy, and they cannot survive when the AI, the big waves hit the next 5, 10, 15 years. Your country basically are finished. Unemployment crashed, and they talk about the UBI. I have a MMAU UBI plan for each country separately. I'm going to operate, and once I convince you, that means socio-economically, and I have a solution for all these developed country or developing country right now as well, plunged below the replacement level of the population, young population shortage, and you all have this immigration crisis, short term, long term. I have a solution for all of you, short term, mid term, long term, up and down, right and left. So please after this short video, less than 20 minutes, please check the 1-hour video and 2-hour video, and this week and this weekend check my website and invite me to run the pilot study 1 to 2 months. I'll convince you without problem, and I'm going to bring the revolution in your country for the rest of the year and your region, not just your region. Basically, I'm going to empower everywhere, but I cannot do it alone. I have a software, you have a hardware. If you marry together, we can bring the revolution, peaceful, miraculous revolution. Yeah. So thank you very much for listening to it, and share my website, the link below, and etc. Please check it. 1 hour, 2 hour, you can kill, or you can do 50-100% faster, and you can watch it in the half an hour, 1 hour. No, that's usually what I do. So I hope to hear from you soon, and let's bring the world, change the world. It sounds like an education program. The one thing I forgot to mention, especially if you are from the European country, especially Western country, Western European, Eastern European country, welcome too. Normally, at least Western European country, to speak to the survival level of target languages, 4 to 8 hours I can speak. I'm sure you cannot believe it. That's basically how I run original pilot study. I studied 10 hours, and with my totally broken Spanish, I made the magic happen. I might not be able to, so I don't speak, for instance, any of the Eastern European languages, except the Russian. I don't speak any of the Scandinavian languages. I'm pretty sure Scandinavian languages, 4 to 8 hours, I'll be able to do just fine. And the Eastern European languages, probably 7, 10, 12 hours, I'll be fine. So don't worry about it. I can pick any languages. Don't worry about I don't speak your languages or whatever. Invite me, and I'm crazy enough, and bold enough, ambitious enough, and I think I have some crazy, wacky vision. I can make something really happen. So instead of wasting your time and waiting for the absolute crash and collapse to the oblivion next 5, 10, 15, 20 years, you don't have time. I'm trying to get things done this decade. So the later you jump in, the harder for you. I give the priority to the government that invite me earlier. So 1 to 2 months pilot study, what's a big hassle? It's not going to be difficult, yeah? So especially I give the priority to the government that has a population country 0.4 to 6 million because of less bureaucracy. But if you are from the Germany, Austria, Australia, the Netherlands, 20, 30, 40, 50, 70 million population, my suggestion to you, stick with the math average worst state, worst city, worst district, while your national average math poverty is 25-30%. I'm sure this state and district will have a 30, 40, 50% math poverty. Let me take care of them first, at least at the appetizer version pilot study. Then I can convince you I will, right? So again, please devote your time to check my video, and I hope to hear from you soon. Thank you very much, and hope to see you soon, and have a great day, and have a great weekend.